control. Do not attempt to adjust your device screen. We are in control of the broadcast. We control the horizontal. We control the vertical. The time has come. Please stand by for a live transmission from Halloween Daily News. Yes, yes, yes. Light up those pumpkins, everybody, because we are live. Let's see who else is awake and alive out there tonight. Hello, Haddonfield, and happy Michael Myers Monday. If you're new here, my name is Matt. We are Halloween Daily News, and this mid-March maniacal Michael Myers flavored masquerade madness that you just found yourself in the middle of is what we like to call Michael Myers Monday Live, our weekly live stream, hangout, general geek out fest, and just fun fest with the greatest people on all of the internet. And I'm talking about our fellow Michael Myers fanatics, who I like to call the Legion of Michael Myers, also known as Triple M Crew, aka our friends. What's up, everybody? Happy Michael Myers Monday. I see a lot of friends in the live chat lighting it up already, just like we like to see. You're here for a good one this week. We've got a special guest. He is waiting in our virtual green room as we speak. We're going to bring him on here in just a few minutes. It's going to be awesome. Mr. Jeffrey Landman, of course, from Halloween 5. And, of course, we got some news to discuss this week. In addition to hearing all of Jeffrey's memories from his time in Haddonfield and being a part of this legacy over the last 35 years, we're going to talk about those recent comments from Miramax's TV head on the TV show, and see what else we can get into tonight. So I see everybody lighting it up. Welcome, everybody. Like we like to say, you made it through another week. You made it through another Monday. Sometimes that's the most important. That's the hardest hump to get over. So you're here. We're celebrating. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. And we are going to keep celebrating all week. It is Michael Myers March, like we've talked about. Before I bring Jeffrey on here, some quick programming notes. I want to let you know that to our channel members, it's just $5 a month. If you're not a member, you should think about joining. it is time to schedule our first ever members only live hangout, and that's going to be happening most likely this Friday. I should have the link up tomorrow for sure. Keep an eye out in the members only community tab for that, and I will be doing giveaways. I've got some digital movie giveaways for movies like The Nun 2 and Megan, so that's going to be a fun time for our members. And for all of you, mark your calendars. Like, I know you've already got them marked. Of course, you're going to be here next week, but you're definitely going to want to be here next week, because breaking news, I'm making the announcement exclusively to you, the Triple M crew, watching live right here. Next week, we are keeping Michael Myers March rolling with yet another special guest, another illustrious Haddonfield resident, Halloween franchise alum. Who is it, you might ask? Here's the official announcement. Next week, I am excited to welcome our friend, Mr. Douglas Tate, to Michael Myers Monday Live. That is happening next Monday, March 18th, right here, the same Hallow time, same Hallow channel. Douglas, of course, did some stunt doubling with the great James Jude Courtney in Halloween Kills. He also played Jason Voorhees in the reshoots for Freddy vs. Jason, one of only 2 human beings in existence to have played both Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, the other, of course, being the great Tom Morga. So very much looking forward to having Douglas here next week. Now, what we're going to do, how this is going to work, it's going to be very similar to last week with Eric. We're going to not go with our usual format. We are going to do poll results, but we're going to do them a little bit later on once we get Jeffrey in here. You'll recall our most recent Triple M poll was asking for your favorite kill from H5, so I figure it's only appropriate to bring Mr. Landman in here and get his opinion if he's got a favorite kill from the film. So we'll be doing that a little bit later. We'll be also launching this week's poll, and of course at the end, before we say goodnight, I will be doing a few shout-outs, like always, to our social media supporters out there. Now, like I said, Jeffrey, as we speak, he is in our virtual green room, so I'm going to go welcome him in here, and while I'm doing that, you guys can watch a pre-recorded segment. This is actually my report from Friday when we got those exciting comments from Mark Helwig, head of TV at Miramax, talking specifically about the new Halloween franchise TV series. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, well then, this is for you. If you already know, then you've got a few minutes to grab a beverage or whatever you need to do and get comfortable. Like I said, just watch this segment. We're going to be talking about these quotes a little bit later on. We're going to get Jeffrey's opinion on all of this and get all of your thoughts. And when we come back, Jeffrey will be here with me, and I'm going to ask him a few questions off the top, just like with Eric last time. So I welcome your questions. I want to get to your questions, but I'm going to ask you to hold your questions until I open it up for you guys, because, if you're all posting your questions too early, I'm not going to see them until way after the fact. And obviously, when we are doing the Q&A portion, channel members and super chats will take priority with that, and then everybody else from there. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'll be back in just a minute with our special guest, Mr. Jeffrey Landman. Until then, enjoy my report. This was uploaded on Friday, and if you just heard some of what's going on and you want to get the whole story, this report has Mark Helwig's full entire quotes. So check this out, and we will dig in discussion in just a little bit. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. You're here for a good one. The future of Michael Myers has just begun to take shape, as today brings our very first official update on the upcoming Halloween TV series. Hey everybody, Matt here with Halloween Daily News, and yes, today we have a very exciting update, our first real update on the upcoming Halloween TV series that is currently in development from Trancas and Miramax. As you will recall, this was first announced back in October of last year, 2023, that Miramax would be working with Trancas to develop a TV series that would most likely be connected to upcoming films as well, because now Trancas and Miramax together hold both the film rights and the TV rights to the Halloween franchise. And now today, March 8th, brings an exciting new update as Deadline has spoken to Miramax's head of worldwide television, Mark Helwig. And you'll recall that back in October, when that first announcement was made that Miramax had won the bidding war for the TV rights, it was announced at that time that Helwig would be working in close collaboration with longtime Halloween franchise producer Malek Akkad on the creative side of this series. So today, on March 8th, Deadline published a brand new interview with Helwig talking about his new series, The Gentleman, and other projects, including the Halloween TV series. In this new interview, speaking about the Halloween TV series, Mark Helwig tells Deadline, quote, "We're on a fast track. It's a big priority for us. We've had lots of exciting conversations in recent months with a number of really talented people, and I think we'll have a pretty good idea of what we're going to be doing very soon. We're hoping to lock down the creative team very soon." Later in the interview, when discussing what direction the new project will take, Helwig does confirm that it will not continue the storyline from the recent trilogy of David Gordon Green directed, Blumhouse produced Halloween films. He says, quote, "It's a big world," and then he adds, quote, "So I don't think that is an opportunity to go off the back of that," he says, in reference to how Halloween Ends effectively ended the story of Michael Myers, for all intents and purposes, for the time being anyway. He goes on, offering only the vaguest of clues as to what we can expect with this series. Helwig further states, quote, "The foundation of it is the original film, the John Carpenter movie, the characters of that film, and perhaps a group of characters that we haven't really focused on that much in recent film versions, or even in a number of them," end quote. And then what I find most notable about all of these comments is this last sentence right here. Helwig clarifies, quote, "It's a creative reset, completely and going back to the original film, as opposed to spinning out of any of the more recent film adaptations," end quote. All of this sounds extremely exciting to me. Again, the confirmation that we are getting a complete reset. I love hearing that it might focus on some characters that we haven't focused on that much in recent film adaptations, in his words. So again, I'm thinking he might be alluding to Dr. Loomis, and hearing that this project is on a fast track, that it is a high priority for Miramax. That's what I want to hear. I think that's what we as fans are all happy and glad to hear him say. And then hearing that the creative team is almost in place. All of this sounds to me to confirm what we've suggested here on this channel and during our Michael Myers Monday live streams recently, that most likely this year, 2024, this project is going to go into production and actually begin filming, in which case we would be looking at a 2025 premiere. I would anticipate we're going to be getting some of these announcements that Mark Helwig is alluding to here as far as the writing team and the creative team behind this. It sounds like we're going to be hearing some of those announcements very soon. And if that is the case, which it seems to be what he's saying here, that would certainly open the door wide for production to begin as early as late summer, if not early fall. I'd certainly hope that maybe they're filming around the actual fall season. That would be really cool, wouldn't it? And then, of course, production could be wrapped and ready to roll for a fall 2025 premiere for this highly anticipated Halloween TV series. So, give me your thoughts down below in the comments on Mark Helwig's statements today to Deadline regarding this series. Are you happy to hear that it is going to be a complete creative reset, that they are going back to the original 78 story? And again, he does state that it might focus on some characters that recent films have not focused on as much. To me, the big one that alludes to is Loomis, because of course Loomis was not featured. I mean, he was featured in the recent 3 films, but not that much. Who else could he be talking about, though? There are other characters, and as he says in this interview, it is a big world. I mean, they might be going really big with this. Maybe we're going to go down the street a bit to the neighboring town of Russellville. Maybe we're going to visit some other characters. Maybe we're going to see Paul, who we only heard his voice, voiced by John Carpenter, on the phone with Annie. Maybe we're going to catch up with Judith's boyfriend and find out what happened to him after he left that night in 1963. Michael's parents, other characters that are featured in that original film, but ever so briefly. Tons of possibilities. All of this very exciting. I'm super stoked to hear these comments, and especially the fact that the project is on a fast track, that they are about to announce the creative team and lock all of this in. And that sounds very exciting to me. So give me your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed what you saw here, hit this video with a like and make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, consider becoming a channel member. It's just $5 a month and you get all kinds of cool killer perks. And look for lots more of our continuing coverage of the upcoming Halloween TV series. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you for watching. Hey everybody, I want to remind you that we have official merch. That's right. Now available in the HDN Spring Store. You can show your love for Halloween every day, all year round, with official Halloween Daily News t-shirts. Many different designs are available, many different styles, colors, all sizes, including the original HDN Classic, our special Triple M crew design for the Michael Myers Monday regulars out there, and our brand new What Would John Carpenter Do design. All of these are available, like I said, multiple sizes, colors, and styles on t-shirts. And that's not all. We've got other merch available like mugs and stickers and lots of other cool stuff. Check it out now at the merch link in the description of this video. All right. Yes, we are back, and it is my pleasure and my very excitement to welcome Mr. Jeffrey Landman to Michael Myers Monday Live. Jeffrey, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening.
My pleasure. Welcome from the Aurora Borealis.
I love that. I love that. Is that where you're coming to us from
Oh
this
God,
evening?
no. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles. I just, my office doesn't have the best background in the world, so I wanted to give everyone something fun.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Very nice. Well, again, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while since our initial contact was made, and I was looking back. I knew the interview was 2014, and here we are, 2024. And I looked back, and it was actually in April of 2014, and here we are. So I guess if I wanted it perfectly symmetrical, I should have waited a month for this. But
So we should come
anyway,
back.
we're here and we're doing it. We're getting a head start on our anniversary. But yeah, it's been almost a decade since we had a phone conversation and talked about all of your Halloween memories at that point and just your career and everything. And we've bumped into each other at a convention or two since then and just kept in contact. And now here we are 10 years later. It's awesome to be here. And again, I can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
And we will take some questions from the audience eventually. But of course, I've got to kick things off. And um, before we even get to Halloween 5 and Michael Myers, um, we always, because every day's Halloween with us, we always try to ask a little bit and learn a little bit about what the holiday means or doesn't mean to you. Is it something you celebrate? Is it something you always celebrated? So in your case, I'm always curious with having worked on a movie called Halloween at such a young age. Um, do you have memories of celebrating the holiday and what the holiday was like before um, getting chased
I
by
mean,
Michael Myers and maybe the holiday taking on a slightly different meaning for you?
yeah, I mean, I do have a slightly different relationship to the holiday than a lot of people do. You know, maybe Danielle might be one of the other only few other people that knows there's other children in the series, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in suburban New Jersey where every year Halloween was, trick or treating, put on a scary costume and go trick or treating. And I've always loved the holiday for that reason. Also, as you get a little older, you start getting into maybe multiple costumes because you have school and then you have parties and you have whatever. So it's always been a fun holiday for me. But yes, since I've been 10 years old and made the movie, the season is always very special to me and has a very special place in my heart because I have this very specific relationship to the holiday that not a lot of people have going back so young. I love it. I love that without getting too deep into this, I love that I have a connection to something so universal that will always be there, meaning Halloween the franchise, but also the holiday that, every year I get this sort of month and a half to 2 month long period where I get to sort of relive one of the greatest things in my career, which was being in Halloween. And um I love it. It does lose a little bit of the allure when you're old enough to buy your own baby Snickers. You don't really, need trick-or-treating as much. As
Right.
much. I'm still going. But yeah, I do enjoy Halloween.
Very cool. And you always have, and like you said, you have this pride that you say of seeing these movies. I imagine as they run on the marathons, like we see every October, every fall, and Halloween 5 is always just airing throughout the month, and so you see that, and it does kind of bring you back. You say,
Yeah, I can always if I ever forget when Halloween is coming, meaning, if I'm like, oh, it's September already, I can always count on people from high school sending me a Facebook message to say, I just saw you on TV, thinking of you, and I'm like, yeah, it must be that time of year again. Which is nice, and it's nice to sort of have that and to know that, like I said, for a couple months out of the year, I'm gonna be on TV and this will still be always a part of my life forever. I'm really distracted because right behind you is I know that's a press photo from Halloween 5. So I'm like, I know that photo really well. So sorry if I was distracted for a moment.
Yep. You
Right there,
notice?
that
Yep. I've
one.
got my Don Shanks autograph photo. I figured. Well, I had Eric Preston on here last week, and
Uh-huh.
I put up a George Wilbur photo over my shoulder just to kind of have George's vibe. I figured. So then I was like, well, I've gotta have a Don Shanks photo now if this
Well,
week.
it has not
So
gone unnoticed.
awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and yes, Don is here in spirit. What we're gonna have to get him here literally one of these Mondays.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Um, and we always ask with the Halloween holiday, what is your favorite Halloween costume that you've worn, and your favorite Halloween candy or treat?
Okay, treat is easy. I'm gonna go with 100 grand bar because
Nice.
it's just perfect in that little size. It's great. That said, I'm not turning down any candy. Like, you're not gonna find a
Yeah,
bad candy on Halloween. That's
that's
great.
true.
My favorite costume, one year I went as I basically made my body a intersection with a bad car accident. So I had matchbox cars going up and down one arm and then up and down my body and then a huge accident right on my chest, which I really loved and I thought that was fun. But I'm gonna give a shout out Casey's watching. Michael Verratti this year went as, if I assume your fans know his podcast and his work in the horror field. Anyway, he went as Billy from Halloween and posted it and tagged me and and made his own costume as Billy. And you know that's gonna go down for me as one of my favorites.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a badge of honor when you see stuff like that. That somebody that
Oh,
you are a fan of, and there you go.
I
They're
was
dressing as Billy.
dying in the best way. It was very lovely to see.
Awesome, excellent. Um, Now when you got Halloween 5, because I did go back and I reread our conversation from 10 years ago, and but correct me if I'm wrong, but you not only had you already been acting, but you were working on Broadway at the time when you got the audition for Halloween 5. Is that right?
Yeah, I was doing Les Miserables on Broadway. I was part of in fact, no, it was 30, what year is this? 24, 35 years ago last night was my Broadway debut in Les Mis,
That's
and
awesome.
37 years ago tonight was the opening of Les Mis on Broadway. So I was there right at the second anniversary, and I was doing that show for a while, and then the audition for Halloween came up, and I left Les Mis and shot Halloween.
Wow.
I
Just
know.
I mean,
It,
what
every time I tell the story, even it's sort of flabbergasting to me that, in a 4 month period, I went from having
yeah.
nothing to being starring in a Broadway show and then starring in a movie all within 4 months. It was kind of incredible.
Now, had you wanted to act from a very young age? Was that something you were always into? Where did that come from?
I don't know. But it was always sort of a foregone conclusion in my family that this is what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And when I was 10 years old, long story short, I kind of badgered my mom to get me into showbiz. She took me to an audition that I did not get, and she was sort of thinking, well, he won't get it, he'll be sad, he'll move on. And my next audition was for Les Mis, and I booked it. So I sort of never looked back after that. But it was
Wow.
totally driven by me. I was something I always wanted to do. Don't know where it came from. No one else in my family's in showbiz. The bug hit me somehow. And here we
Amazing. Amazing. And two, just kind of, legendary productions there, franchises, I guess, if you will, like you said, back to back to really kick start things for you. Um, yeah, just amazing. Now, I asked you again 10 years ago, and I asked Eric Preston this. I always ask a lot of actors that, work on horror films at a young age. I'm always curious, how much of these horror characters or of this were you aware of at the time, and did you realize it was a big deal that you were doing this? And I know, like with Eric last week, he was like, oh yeah, I was aware of Freddy and Jason and some of these, and but I think with you that was not the case. Is that right?
I mean,
You
I was aware of Freddy and Jason. I
Because
don't
they were
know.
so pop culture at the
Yeah,
time,
I think they
probably.
were a little more pop culture than Michael Myers,
Yeah,
especially at that time.
yeah,
I was aware of them, but I'd never really seen. I don't think I'd ever seen a horror movie at that point,
yeah.
except like Poltergeist.
Hmm.
Um, but I wasn't really aware. And excuse me, I've told this story maybe to you, maybe your fans have heard it, but telling it again. When I
Yeah.
booked the movie, um, my mom and I rented the most recent Halloween movie to understand what was going on, and that was Halloween 3. So I was really confused, and we had no
Yeah.
idea what was going on. So when we got to Salt Lake to start filming, Danielle had a copy of Halloween 4, which hadn't come out on VHS yet. That's how old this movie is. So I remember literally the first night we got to Salt Lake, my family and Danielle's family watched number 4 together, and then it started to make a little more sense. And then in the intervening 30 something years, I've certainly seen all the movies and am a fan now, but I didn't know what I was getting into. I was 10 years old. I just didn't, it wasn't really in my universe at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Eric had said that he was watching young movies because his parents would like let him watch stuff, and I don't think I was allowed to watch a lot of stuff at 10 yet
No.
either, like rated R stuff at that time either.
No.
So so what do you remember from the audition process? Was it a long process, or did that happen pretty quick too?
It was pretty quick. If I recall, it was one audition and two callbacks in New York. I never met anyone till I arrived in Salt Lake from production.
Hmm.
I know Dominique saw my tapes and really liked it, and
Yeah.
that's why he hired me. But I never met with Danielle, none of that until we arrived in Salt Lake. It was just me and a casting director. And what I remember most about the process was that the thing they were most concerned about, or what they were looking for most, was the stuttering, and to make sure that the stuttering was going to seem real. And that was all written out in the script to the point where I have my original script and it says, Judge Jamie, are you okay? It has all the stuttering written out. And then we worked with a speech therapist for about a week just to go through the script and go over what points during the script the stutter might come out more than others, times of um, at the pageant when things start to go a little wrong. You'll notice Billy stutters a little more there than he does in the more calm periods in the movie, and that stuff was written in the script, but then we sort of played around with it with the coach who also worked with Danielle on the sign language.
Man, and it is a demanding role, and people forget that. I think. I mean, I rewatched Halloween 5 for maybe the 50th or maybe the 100th time. In my excitement for this conversation, and I'm always blown away watching you and Danielle in this movie because you're both in it so much. First of all, it's not like small roles, which you get
And
worth billing, by the way.
I watch it. I think I'm barely in the movie because there's about twice as much that was on the cutting room floor.
Well, okay, we'll get to that in just a second. But you're number four billed in the opening credits, first of all, and the only people ahead of you, it's like Danielle and the other like
I'm
Ellie
the
and Bo
first. I'm
Star
the
that were
first new
from Halloween
person.
4.
I'm
Yeah,
the first person that's not in number four.
right. You
Hmm.
are, yeah. So that's pretty amazing, and yeah, to my eyes, you're in it so much, and then I remember you telling me that the stuttering, because I wondered the first time we talked, I legitimately was like, maybe you had a stutter as a child, and they worked that into the character, but it was the other way around. They needed specifically somebody your age that could carry carry that through the whole film.
Yeah,
That
and they
that
said
must have been a challenge.
it was. But I hopefully rose to the challenge. It had never occurred to me to ask why the character stuttered or anything like that. And then when we did, God, this is probably about 15, 16 years ago, we did the commentary track for the DVD, Dominique, Danielle, and I. And Dominique asked in that, he said, "Do you know why we made you stutter?" And I said, "Actually, it never occurred to me to ask why." And he said it was they wanted the only person Jamie can communicate with also has trouble communicating. So they wanted to put another barrier to her being able to communicate
Yeah.
by making him stutter. And I was like, that makes perfect sense and wonderful.
Yeah, it definitely does. And yeah, I mean, you guys are kind of like a team there. It's kind of, it reminds me of the Tommy and Lindsay in the original film, where Lindsay's like, I believe you, Tommy. And Billy's kind of, the only one where like, I believe you, Jamie. And, it's kind of that type of relationship. I feel like a bit of a throwback in a way to
Agreed.
the kids in the 78 film. Um, so, eh, let's talk a little bit about some of those unused scenes because I remember you did mention that when we talked before. What do you remember that was shot? Because like I said, I mean Billy to my eyes is in a ton of it, but I do remember you telling us about some of that before. Can you
There's
expand on
there
that?
there's a lot more of me in the daytime that you see
Okay.
before the pageant and all that. A lot of stuff that you see referencing, well, you see me outside of the hospital, and they also reference that I'm supposed to be in school. So really, and they cut basically every reference to me not being a patient at the hospital. So the backstory was that I was not a patient at the hospital, but all of that got cut out. There's more of me, or not filmed, but scripted of me at the end where you see that I'm alive at the end, but that never got shot. So the implication is that I'm dead, but in the script I'm very clearly alive. I'm trying to think of other stuff. It's just little things here and there. There I had a lot more with Loomis, like I said, especially during the daytime where he's telling me that I should be going back to school and I shouldn't worry about Jamie. There's just a lot of little things here and there that was more to Billy's plot line, but obviously it wasn't as necessary because it all got cut out. And I think you're left with a really nice story and arc for him.
And Billy, like you said, in that original version, I guess he was just coming there specifically because he had this friendship with Jamie or this concern with
Well, they
Jamie. Is that
told
what
me,
you
I don't
remember?
remember,
I guess, or
I don't remember this being spelled out, but they told me that
it just wasn't
I had been a patient at one point,
okay.
and now I'm not. I don't know that I'm cured, if you will.
Yeah, like you got
But
released
that I got
and
released, and that's why I'm coming back to check on Jamie. But that all got cut, and I the story is no better or worse without it. I think you
right.
still get the full scope of Billy's intention.
Oh yeah, and like you said, it does leave it kind of questionable as to his end. And I remember that was a revelation to me that in the script it was clear that he lives, and we said at that time that yeah, and until Dominic or somebody corrects us, yeah, Billy survived. He's one of the few survivors of one of Michael's rampages.
Well, the
Um,
funny thing is, the scene itself is still there, which is you see the cops at the clinic at the end of the movie, and you see a couple dead bodies, but you see a lot of live bodies. And I had been released from filming and sent back to New Jersey before they shot that by mistake. It was a mistake that I wasn't there. So in the
okay.
scene as scripted, I'm supposed to be standing there with the cops clearly alive, and I'm just not there. So, but I'm also you don't see the one dead body they're taking out is not me because you see who it is. So in theory, I'm still there, still at the clinic, still that was a joke, but still alive.
I think yeah, Billy is a survivor. I like to believe that for sure.
Well,
Um,
and like the biggest change,
yes,
and this I didn't even think about because we never filmed it. The biggest change was that, including the first day of filming, Billy was supposed to be a BMX bike racer. So they had a stunt double for me to do all the bike stuff. We shot one day with the bicycle, and then the entire scene
interesting.
got cut. It's at the house with Tina and Rachel, before Michael attacks Max. I'm supposed to be there. Um, they ended up cutting that. It was just the bike was just too difficult. And the car chase was scripted that Danielle and I were going to be on the bicycle and the car hit the bicycle. We flipped over it and then or I flipped over the car on the bicycle and then he backed over me with the car. And that was supposed to be but by the time we ended up shooting it without the bicycle, just running instead.
And
Yeah.
him backing over it, that might have left nothing to the imagination of Billy's
Nothing in the amount,
fate at that point.
but still scripted to be alive.
Wow. So he was he was going to get run over and still scripted.
And
So
still live. Yeah,
wow, that would have been extra brutal for Michael to
a little
put it
bit.
in
Yeah,
reverse on
yeah.
poor little Bill. That I
I mean
mean,
that was never even shot, but that was what was scripted.
wow, that's that's unbelievable. Um, I've heard Don Shanks talk about at conventions and Q&As and stuff about how some of the weapons he used were like actual real weapons. Do you remember any of
I,
that or
I don't, except I remember when um Donald Pleasance broke Don Shanks's nose with a real piece of plywood by mistake. So I know like that was real. And I know there were one or two of the knives were real, but they were very much like in a shot where you are only seeing that, like it was very far away from like any two human beings being near the knife. But I know a couple of the knives were real, but most of the ones that we used, certainly the ones that were used around me, were all plastic. And obviously, I want to be clear, while the driving was all done practical and it was real, and he was chasing me in a car that I was running in a field, like all safety precautions were taken, and anything that was potentially dangerous was we never felt in danger.
and like you said, you never felt in danger, and I asked you what it was like as a kid having Michael Myers chase you, and you spoke 10 years ago about how nice Don was on set to you and Danielle, and considerate about the fact that you guys were kids, and I guess she had already been around Michael, played by different people at that time, but you hadn't really. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I
Working with
think
Don
part of it
Shanks?
was I don't know, not having been on number four or anything else, but
Yeah,
I think part of it was because there were, especially because there were two of us, they went even, I think everyone went even further out of the way to make sure that we weren't scared, that we weren't scared, that nothing was too scary.
yeah,
Don, I've told the story a lot. Don would always take the mask off every chance he got, even in a world where if you're dealing with adults, you might not, because it's only going to be like a 1 minute turnaround before we're going again. But he
yeah.
would always take it off to make sure that we were not scared. But all of that said, like it's not as scary when, they're going to yell cut and they're going to stop and then you're going to go have dinner with this man. It's not it's really not as scary filming one of these movies as it would be filming anything else because it's
Mhm.
still at the end of the day acting, and it's still at the end of the day that guy you were sitting in the makeup trailer with who's now doing his job of scaring you and your job of being scared. So I never felt all that scared, which is good
Yeah.
ultimately.
And you mentioned Donald Pleasance, the great Donald Pleasance, and you of course got to work with him some. What are your memories of that, and just of being around him?
He was just a really wonderful man who again, like always sat with us at dinner, and the cast all kind of ate together. There was no like going off in your trailers or whatever. I most of the memories I have of filming, I don't even really remember my trailer that much. I mean, I do, but
Yeah,
I remember all most of the pictures I have are everyone just sort of sitting around the set. It was so late at night and it was so cold, and we shot so much inside the clinic, which was warm inside, so everyone just kind of hung out there. And I I wish I had the foresight to, sort of comprehend what an icon Donald Pleasance was at the time. As a 10-year-old, what do you know? But, I wish I could have dinners with him now, if you will.
yeah,
Knowing what I know about his insane career. But I'm so honored to not only be a part of Halloween, as I've said, but to selfishly also be in one of the Halloweens with Donald Pleasance is, between Donald and Jamie Lee and Danielle, you have three major icons of the series, and I'm lucky I got to work with two of them. And now I'm just waiting for Jamie Lee. That's it.
yep. That's the last box to check off,
That's
right?
a
That's
check off.
well, that the hey, the franchise isn't going anywhere.
No,
They're going
you
to
never
keep
know.
making new material. And yeah, I mean, I guess now's as good a time as any. I'll ask you about the TV series
Call
that
me.
is in development. I think
Call
that's
me.
what everybody wants to hear. Like we want to see some of our Haddonfield residents, our alums, come back and if not reprise roles, then at least take on some different roles. Maybe. I mean, who knows what they're going to do with this TV series? But I think that's what everybody wants to see is
I hope so.
some of
I
our Haddonfield family.
I hope so. I mean, for me, that's my favorite part of watching Chucky
Oh yeah,
is is the way that that TV series lives in the same world as the
yeah,
movies. And now obviously Child's Play is a different scenario because even every time they reboot, they still keep the same
yeah,
universe. It's all the same Chucky. Um, and obviously Halloween has many, many different timelines and mythologies, which in and of itself I love because it makes the series even more special than other
yeah.
series, that it's sort of there is a choose your own adventure element to Halloween, which I love. But yeah, I'd love to be a part of the series. If anyone's looking for me, you know where to find me. Obviously, in my heart of hearts, I'd love to see where Billy is today, but I'm also very open to a new character, whatever. I know Danielle's been doing a lot of push to be a part of this, as she 100% should be. That's my opinion, my biased opinion. But I think I mean, here's the thing: the fans have dubbed our series the Thorn trilogy, and it's become its own thing by itself. So I think it's time to revisit the Thorn trilogy, and I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of fans that want to see that happen, and yeah, depending on what they're going to do with the new series, um,
And whatever they do is, like I always say, it's wonderful. There's I can't think of another franchise that has stayed alive so long, so actively, and completely reinvents itself every couple of decades in a wonderful way because it has the fan base that loves um this universe. And I'm so honored that I just happen to have ended up in this franchise and it's not going anywhere. And thank God for that.
Well, and I love that too. That it is choose your own adventure now, and that they've leaned into it now. You know, they've kind of invented the requel, and everybody looks to the 2018 film, but they were doing that with H2O. That was a requel right there. I mean, they
Or
kind of
number
did it with
four.
Halloween 4. That was a requel. You
Mm-hmm.
know, after Halloween 3, so which itself was sort of a requel. If you so they've been doing it ever since that was a term, or before it was a term. And I love that now with the most recent films, they've just totally leaned into it, and now they're saying, "Yeah, we're just going to start from scratch again." And you know, I mean, I think, like you said, there's no other franchise I can think of that has done that. That has all these different storylines, and yeah, maybe they can go back at some point and revisit some of them in some way.
Haddonfield is the original multiverse.
It is. It is before that was even a thing. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, they've been doing it. I mean, you look at the history of these movies; they've been doing requels. Um, and every decade it has its own entry point. You know, like you said, I mean, it gets reinvented and reimagined over and over. And you, as somebody who was on the inside, 35 years ago now, you've watched the last 3.5 decades it being reimagined quite a few times already. Um, and I love your attitude that you were just saying, because I was going to ask you, like, what's that been like to see it reimagined and to see
It's,
these new
I mean,
takes on it.
I'm sitting here talking to you because of that. You know what I mean? Like it keeps some people have asked me if I feel like it's, that we've been erased from the Halloween lore. I'm like, no, because the people that care, the fans, and the people that know the franchise are just as passionate about each iteration as everyone has their favorite, timeline. But every time Halloween enters the zeitgeist again for whatever reason, it only makes people revisit the old ones and only makes
That's true.
a rising, what is it? A rising tide floats all ships.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that, like I said, I'm sitting here 35 years later talking about this and never saw that my life would come to that. And I'm so grateful for it.
And I totally agree with what you said, because I always have a problem when people say, "Oh, this new movie kills the old ones, or killed the franchise. They killed the franchise." I never agree with that. I'm like, well, you still got all the other ones that you loved yesterday before you saw this one. Why are you letting this one ruin? I mean,
And
they still exist.
I like how the latest batch sort of made nod to it by saying that was all rumor.
Yeah.
Like everything that happened since Halloween 2 was
Hmm.
all rumor mill and conjecture and whatever. And I'm like, I kind of love that too, that
Yeah.
idea. That in that universe, people gossip about what happened in our universe.
Exactly. Yeah, and I like that. And like you said, to me, I mean, that's not dismissing it. That's like you said, just kind of a wink and a nod, a little,
Mhm.
acknowledgement that yeah, that like you said, in this version of the multiverse of the Haddonfield multiverse, yeah, those events are what people gossip about. They were rumor. Oh, I heard that was her sister. Yeah, that's just what people say. I thought that was great too. And
I
and
love
and
that. I
then they
thought that was
solved
smart.
the whole continuity thing with that one line. There you go. It's all explained in that one line of dialogue.
Yeah.
um, and then to backtrack just for a
Mhm.
second on with Halloween 5, once the film was released, or when was it that you saw the finished film from start to finish for the
First,
first time? Do you
the
remember your
oh
first
yeah,
viewing?
the day it was released, the
Okay.
first showing at noon, I think. I couldn't make it to the premiere because it was in Los Angeles and I was in New York and it was like on a Tuesday. Um, but yeah, my family and I played hooky from school Friday the 13th,
Oh, awesome.
1989. Played hooky from
Yeah.
school and went and saw the movie at the first showing. And I distinctly remember like seeing my name come up. I don't remember knowing that I was gonna have such good billing. I don't think I comprehended that. And then seeing when I knew my first scene was coming, which ended up getting cut, but I was like waiting for it, and it never naively never occurred to me that it would be cut. Like I thought what gets shot is what you see.
Yeah.
And at that time, you could still there's the scene was supposed to start with me jumping out of the bushes and scaring Wendy and Tina. And I know where I was, so you can still see the top of my head in the bushes, and it's on the VHS, but by the time it went to DVD, they digitally removed my head. So I actually have right here, I do have the VHS, and this does have, let's see, whatever, bad thing. It does have
Awesome.
a little thing at the top of my head. And every once in a while, I catch it on AMC and they're showing that version. But it's one of those things you would never notice. There's a couple things in the movie you would never notice until someone points it out. For example, like I've said quite a few times in interviews, if you really carefully watch the scene where Michael runs me over with a car, you'll notice there's no one driving. He's in the passenger seat. So there's literally no one in the driver's seat, and he's in the passenger seat trying to kill me. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Now, isn't that because you were using mirrors or
They
something?
used
To is
mirrors,
that
and
is that how?
they used to, the way we shot the car chase was there was a huge, like 20-foot mirror
Okay.
in the middle of the field. And let's say Don was driving towards it here, and I was running towards it here next to him. And they were filming the mirror, so it looks like the car is behind me.
Okay.
And he drove directly through the mirror, and it looks like he hit me, but they forgot to reverse the image.
Ah.
So it looks like he's in the passenger seat. Yeah. It's like two shots, and once you see it, you can't
You
unsee
can't
it.
unsee it. Yeah, yeah. You'll notice it every time. And yeah, I've got to go back and look at that scene that you said was originally going to be Billy's intro, scaring the girls.
It's right when they're like, everyone, they should ban. No, it's not. They should ban Halloween in this town. It's when they're first walking
Hmm.
home from the house.
Yeah.
Rachel's about to get in the shower.
Hmm.
No, sorry. It's when Tina's about to discover Rachel has
Yeah.
left, and the dog is barking at Michael. The dog barking was supposed to be at the end of my scene.
Okay. So they just cut that
Just cut that.
that right
They
out. That was one of
basically cut everything showing me in the daytime outside
in
of
the
the
daytime.
hospital out.
And I guess you're right. That was probably an editorial decision. Thinking about it now and hearing this, that yeah, they wanted to just condense Billy's story to okay, he was in the hospital. That's where he met Jamie. That's and he's just part of the hospital storyline. I think
Yep.
is what it
Probably that.
sounds like.
Yeah.
So, um, so you go on with your first viewing. What did you think when you saw the finished the
Oh, I
finished
don't
film?
remember. It was
You
so
know,
overwhelming. It was
it was
so
just
overwhelming just to see myself on the big screen.
I'm
And
sure.
to see, we shot, I'd never been on a film set before. We shot out of order. We shot
Yeah.
things that I had there's a scene I remember where Tina is outside the hospital crying and the cops come up to her and she's like, "You can take me to the party." And then they zoom in on me in the window watching. I didn't know I was being filmed. They just told me to stand there. But the camera was outside. Everyone was outside. I didn't hear action. I didn't hear cut. I didn't know they were zooming in on me. I was just told stand in this window and look.
Yeah.
So things like that, I was like, oh, that's what and I actually now I love that's one of my favorite shots in the movie when they zoom in on me listening. But things like that I just wasn't
Yeah.
prepared for, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out or what it was going to be. So it was just wonderful. I think I saw it 3 times that day, as you do.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, as you do. I mean, yeah, you got to. That was so. And then you've gone on over these years and appeared at conventions, and of course the reunion conventions.
Mhm.
We just had H45 this past year, and how many of them have you been a part of?
I've done all the Halloween, all the like the H reunions I've done.
Yeah.
So I did, what was it,
Okay.
25, 30, 35,
35. Yep.
I
So
think
you've been at
30
all of them.
first. I've been at all of them. And I've done some other cons around the country.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a couple have done like Halloween 5 reunions, and I do that. I love doing cons. Love to do more. I love meeting the fans. It's really such a, like I said, it's because it's not something I ever planned on in life, and I certainly never plan or prepared to be in part of such a major franchise, it is so wonderful meeting people that just have such passionate feelings about it. And I'm so honored that people still care. You know, it sounds silly, but this is a job I did 35 years ago, and people still all the time want to talk about it. And that's really awesome. You know, that's really cool. And I love meeting the fans.
And it is a fun fan community. I mean, we were lucky enough to go in 2018 to H40, and then last year to H45, and it is just always, magical pilgrimage to go out there and be around all these like-minded people that just love this crazy franchise as much as we do, and this
It's a
fictional
great,
serial
great
killer that,
place.
why we love Michael so much, who knows, but and everybody's just so cool and fun, from the guests like yourself down to fans that we meet and everything. um so how was your H45? You've been to all of them. How was this one in comparison? I guess I should
It
ask.
was great. I mean, I love, besides meeting the fans, I should also say I love that, every 5 years or so I get to reconnect with Don and Matt
Yeah,
Walker and, Tamra and Danielle, and
yeah,
we all get to see each other at these things, which is always fun because we are connected for life.
yeah.
It's just fun to see each other. Um, I had a great con. It was great. Yeah, it was just great meeting all the fans, and some people I get to see every 5 years that they come to all the cons and always come by and see me and bring photos from last time for me to sign, which I love. And um, like I said, the Halloween fan base is just it's such a wonderful, loving, wonderful community of people that really like this serial killer. So there's something wrong with all of you and me myself as well. But I'm
Yep,
happy to be there. I'm happy to
yep,
be part of that world. It's really fun.
yep,
And Michael is such a worldwide icon in and of itself. If I
yeah.
wear a t-shirt like you're wearing anywhere in the world, people know who that is. If I There's not a week that goes by that I don't see some reference to Michael Myers in the world somewhere, be it a bumper sticker on
Oh
someone's
yeah.
car or a t-shirt or something. And I love that community, and I love how proud and passionate the community is.
Absolutely, and I feel the same way. I mean, I'm usually the one wearing the shirts, but I see that. I like you mentioned stickers on cars. I'm picking my son up
Yeah.
from school just last week, and there's a Myers sticker right in front of me. And you hear him mentioned in songs on
Mhm.
on on shows all the time. Like I've got a running tally every time I hear Michael just mentioned in anybody's monologue or just a sitcom or anywhere. There's so many, and I'm trying to tally them all, but it's like there's so many, and he is bigger than all of us. And I always say Michael has become like Frankenstein or Batman. Just these characters that can be reinterpreted as
Mhm.
radically as we want because they're that big and they're gonna go on no matter what.
Exactly.
Well, let's turn it over here and look at our live chat and see if we've got a few questions for you over here. I've got tons more, if not, but I'm gonna look over here if it's okay,
By all means,
and
ask away.
um, and we can take a couple live chat questions now. So, guys, I had asked you at the top to hold them. Now you can fire away, and I'll ask Jeffrey. And well, I can see our first one, Rob Windsor, with a $5 super chat. He said we had just talked about this. He was asking what was it like to work with legend like Donald Pleasance, and
He's just great. He brought such a level of gravitas and um history to the
yeah,
franchise that I'm honored to have been around. I think my Siri just started. There we go. Yeah, I'm honored to have been around that.
and like you said, I mean, he was such an important part of the franchise for even though he's not in the third one, for those six movies for the most part. I mean, and you got to actually do some scenes with him, do some actual acting, which not everybody who was in all those movies can say that. I've talked to some people that were in some of those movies, and they were like, unfortunately, I saw him from afar, but never got to. But you actually shared screen time.
I did.
Let's see. Let's see if we got some more here. Let's see. Jennifer asked, Jeffrey, I'm a big fan of Halloween 5. The first time I watched it, I thought you actually had a stutter, but now I know you didn't, and that was acting. Yeah, not really a question, but yeah, I mean, again,
I'll take
great
it.
props on the acting. Again, I thought so too before our first interview, and that's why I asked, because I thought maybe you did have an actual stutter, and the producers were like, well, that's great. Let's make that part of Billy, and just work it in. But that you that was part of getting the role. That was like one of
Yep.
the things they were looking for specifically. Um, Teen Wolf asks again. We kind of covered it, but would you want to return to the series in some way? Um, I think
Emphatic yes. And let's be honest, I don't know anyone that wouldn't.
yeah.
I mean, I think everyone who sort of is from a class of Haddonfield, if you will, proverbially went to Haddonfield High. I think all of us see the enormity of this franchise and would love to always be a part of it. I'm guessing deep down Busta Rhymes too. You guys,
Hey,
I'm connected to Busta Rhymes. Let's just say real. Like through Halloween, I can connect myself to Busta Rhymes, and that's awesome in and of itself.
Halloween is its own version of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of Halloween. I think we could probably connect you to pretty much anybody. I think through Halloween, honestly.
Oh well, I
If
mean,
like with the
just through
6 degrees
Danielle,
of
just through Danielle or anyone. I mean, especially when you get to like H2O, when you have like Michelle Williams in the movie,
right,
or
right,
yeah,
yeah, and yeah, Michelle Williams, like you said, Josh Hartnett, and then just
Tyra
Jamie
Banks,
Lee Curtis has done some.
Jamie
Tyra
Lee.
Banks, another one. Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable. And then Rob Zombie put Weird Al was in Rob Zombie's H2 for a minute. Yeah, so yeah, I think we could connect you in 6 degrees or less. It might not even take that many to connect you. Um, it's again, it's just a testament to this franchise and the talent that has worked on it over the years. I mean, a lot of people, even Dana Carvey has that bit part in H2, the
Yep.
original H2. I mean, it's unbelievable. Let's see here. Um, Travis donated a super chat but didn't ask a question. Thank you, Travis, though. um, let's see here. Ocean Stroke says, "I sincerely want an actual Danielle ending to Jamie's story. The fans want it." Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that. Like you said, Danielle's said that she'd be down to reprise the role in some way if they were to do like some kind of requel or sequel or something. Let's see here. We got. Yep, Travis Mitchell. Thank you for your super chat. Mike Johnson says, "I'm surprised, Jeffrey, that you and Danielle aren't traumatized for Michael chasing you both with the car. LOL.
It's just acting,
All in a day's work, right?
all in a day's work. We were at that farm for a long time. I'll just say that.
Do you remember? I mean, was all that driving done in one night?
No, I mean, no. But the farm stuff, I want to say we were there for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Um, the well, because everything was. I think people don't realize or remember how much takes place there.
Yeah, that's true.
You have the
Yeah,
whole car chase. You have the whole sex scene. You have the whole party before the sex scene. You have the car blowing up in the woods. You
that's
have
right.
like all of it. It's a lot that happens there. Um, and there's actually like three big car moments between the chasing, the blowing up, and when it breaks through the fence. So that and I think the whole car chase stuff in and of itself probably took about a week or so. And then there's all the little other stuff. And there's stuff that we shot at the farm that doesn't even take place at the farm that was just shot there because we were there.
Hmm.
There's a scene where Danielle and we've escaped from the clinic and we haven't gotten to the farm yet, and we're like on a side street and the cops are looking for us. It was the last thing I shot in the movie, and that was shot directly in front of the house that was being used for the Myers house. Even
Oh,
though it's
okay.
hear that. Like it was that kind of stuff. There's stuff at the farm that is just supposed to be generic that we shot there because we were there.
Hmm.
I would say I spent most of my time. I think I spent a couple days at Jamie's house, which all got cut. So I probably spent about a week shooting the daytime at the house. And then we went to the clinic, which was probably about a month at the clinic, daytime and nighttime. And then the farm was the rest of the shoot.
Do you remember any other details of any of those other deleted scenes?
No, I mean, like I said, I remember Dr. Loomis telling me to get back to school.
Hmm.
I remember there was the first scene with Tina and Sammy had
Hmm.
me on the bike with the dog and all of that. And that was like that was my first day of shooting, and that was the day I like met the dog. Um, there was more showing me alive. There was more. Can't really think off the top of my head. I mean, there was stuff showing how we got out of the clinic that I don't
Yeah.
think really matters. Like you saw the two of us like stealing medical equipment and sneaking out of the clinic, which I don't think really added anything. So it's stuff like that, little things here and there that all added up
Hmm.
to more.
Very cool. Well, we're just always fascinated hearing about these scenes, and some of it, might never see the light of day. I mean, some of it, I guess, has been released over the years, but
I've been told
um,
it will never see the light of day, but I'm told there is more footage of the stuff that caused the X rating, which was both it was due to the laundry chute scene and the
oh
car
yeah,
chase. The two of those together are what caused the X rating. So I know obviously they toned them both down, but I know the footage of like the more extreme car chase is out there somewhere. But I don't know. I mean, I last I heard, and this was like 20 years ago, it was like
yeah.
in a basement in Malik's house or something. I don't, on like beta film. I don't. I like that's how unconnected I am to that footage. But I've heard it exists somewhere of the stuff that made the X rating.
Man. I mean, it's pretty intense the cut that it gets, but yeah, I guess because it was, you guys were kids, and that would have been the thing, the violence against the kids.
Yeah,
Let's see. Ocean says Billy should absolutely return to help Jamie if there's a proper sequel.
exactly.
Um, the Asylum Beyond the Dead says hi, Jeffrey. You guys can ask questions now. You, see, I've done so well with my
Yeah, you
interview
asked them
questions. I
all.
asked everything. I think I did. I know. I but but hey, I get to go first. I got to get first dibs. um, David Sewers wondering if you will say Cookie Woman.
Cookie woman. Thank you.
The crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes mild.
Jennifer R. Delaney asked, "What was it like acting with Danielle?" That's a good question.
She was great. Yeah, I love her work in the movies. I think 4 and 5. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think it's one of the greatest child actor performances I've seen certainly in a horror movie, and what was
Yeah.
asked for her to do in those two movies is phenomenal, and she does a wonderful job in those. There's a reason why the movies are so
Yeah.
successful, and there's a reason why the fans love her so much, and it's because she does an amazing performance. She was wonderful, again, like everyone, knowing this was my first film and I came from the theater world. She was great about helping me learn how to work with the camera. Where is the camera? How do I, uh, turn my head to not be in the camera? Things like that was great. Also, we being the two kids, we had tutoring together. We had a
Yeah.
week of rehearsals with just the two of us before everyone else arrived, so we really got to know each other and bond really well before that. They bought us both bicycles, so I actually have video of us just riding the bicycles around the hotel. I don't know why the hotel let us do that, but we were like inside the hotel riding the bicycles around the floors because that's safe. Uh, but she was great. That's another thing I'm so happy in my place in the Halloween world is also that I'm connected to her and her performance
Yeah.
because it is so iconic in the franchise, and my character basically has no purpose without her, and so we're connected in that way, which makes, it even more special.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Billy definitely, connected to Jamie in that way. Again, it reminds me of that Lindsay and Tommy relationship from the original film in a lot of ways. They just go hand in hand in our minds. Um, and yeah, I agree. I mean, her performance every time I watch it, I'm just blown away. And I think even more so, as good as it is in four, I mean, in five, they're like you said, they're asking her to do so much more.
Mhm.
I mean, you too with the stuttering and all, but I mean, with her with not speaking, the sign language. I mean, just so much going on throughout that movie, and then I think she's on screen a lot more,
Yeah.
probably in
There's no
five
Rachel.
too.
Well, there's no Rachel.
Right? Yeah, and it really is. It's she gets a lot of that screen time that Rachel she shared with Rachel in the
Hmm.
previous one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely two of the all time great kid performances for both of you, I would think. Because yeah, I watch both of you, and I'm like just blown away as much on this most recent viewing as I have been every time. So,
Thank you. It was very sweet.
oh, absolutely, and I mean, again, it's it's just next level. What you guys what those characters have to go through in that film.
Thank you.
Um, Sam is asking, did you audition for other movies as a child actor that you can tell us about?
I did, without getting into details, but there was a string of movies that I was auditioning for and screen testing for. A lot of movies that went to a certain other child actor. Almost all of them went to him, and he may or may not have later been a Hobbit. Elijah Wood and I very much were always up against each other as
Wow.
kids, and yeah, I mean it's in the early 90s, most movies that had a boy that was like 12 or 13, I was probably auditioning for it at that time. While still working on Broadway and doing that and um yeah, I was auditioning, and I also did get a little bit pigeonholed as a horror guy, and I had the theater thing and the horror thing, and that was a little pigeonholy, but whatever, it's fine. Um, but yes, I was auditioning for all that stuff.
And when we had Eric Preston on here, he said I should ask you about a connection you have to Child's Play or Chucky.
I was in the late 80s, early 90s. I was the number one, if you will, studio singer in Manhattan, and I was singing pretty much every commercial in the 90s that you heard. And one of them was when they relaunched My Buddy after Child's Play. I
Yeah.
did the commercial. So the My Buddy that everyone thinks of from the 90s, that was me singing it. The toy had been taken off the market because Child's Play kind of killed the sales. The doll was too similar to Chucky. So they kind of pulled My Buddy off the market and then relaunched it in the early 90s, and I was the one doing that commercial. Not to also, Matt Walker, Spitz from Halloween 5, is in Child's Play 3. So there's that connection as well.
Very nice. Again, there's that 6 degrees thing, but doesn't even take six. Like I said, it won't even take six.
Nope.
But that's very interesting. Yeah, I had no idea. See, I learned something new every day.
Jinx.
Do you have current or upcoming projects that you can plug and tell us about?
I have some stuff I can't really chat about yet because it's not signed on the dotted line.
Okay.
But I've been doing a lot of teaching and directing lately, which I really, really love. Um, and yeah, hopefully the new Halloween series. There's nothing I know nothing, by the way, y'all. I'm not subtly hinting at anything. It's but I would love to be a part of the new Halloween series. That wasn't like I guess like a stay tuned for more info. There's nothing to stay tuned for on my end.
Well, what part of that the comments from Miramax on Friday, part of that was that they want to focus on some characters that they haven't really spent a lot of time focusing on, but I mean,
Call me.
Billy could be one of those hypothetically.
Exactly.
Stranger things have happened, especially when it comes to this franchise.
Stranger Things,
I mean,
exactly.
it would not be out of the realm of possibility for this
It would not be out
franchise.
of nowhere.
And like I said, even if it's not Billy, as much as we like that, maybe a new character. I mean,
Definitely.
there's I mean, I imagine I do like the Chucky series. Like you said, I've been really impressed with what they've done with that and how they've been able to launch it on TV for a new generation while still giving fans of every era of the movies,
Hmm.
continue that as well. I mean, props to Don Mancini for being able to just pull all that off. But with Halloween, I mean, I don't know how they would pull it all together. Again, though, um, this franchise, they make their own rules, I always say, and then they break their own rules. So
Yeah,
whatever,
there is nothing. There's no rhyme or reason, and I
yeah,
think that's something the fans love too. Much like Michael himself, you never know what's going to happen
that's
next.
true. Yeah, you never know where they're gonna go next. Absolutely. All right, let me see if we've got any other questions over here, and then we're gonna look at poll results before I let you go. Um, let's see. Okay, Mike Johnston asks, what do you think it truly is that drives so many people to this franchise? Is it Michael's mystique, the Halloween atmosphere, etc.? What do you think it is?
I think it's all of that. And that's my answer now. I think it is the fact that the series keeps reinventing itself, and I think it's the fact that it has been going along for so long that people grew up with some iteration of this franchise being in their life. I think it's the fact that Michael. I mean, I'm looking at the mask right next to you. Like it's this. They did a brilliant job by choosing to make him expressionless,
Yeah,
which I think that also feeds into the you never know what's going to happen nextness of it.
yeah,
So I think that's the kind of stuff people respond to.
yeah.
All
Absolutely. Like you said, it's a little bit of all of that, I think.
and it's just a good scare. That too.
Yeah. Oh, somebody said they were hoping you were hinting at something with your
I know, that's why I had to backpedal. No
right.
hinting.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep. Yep. No scoop yet. Um. Let's see. Ocean Strugs says Danielle has said that she almost got hit by the car. Did you do anything that you felt in danger at all? You've already pretty much said
No,
that
not really.
you never
I never
felt
really felt in
unsafe.
danger. And I was there that night with her, and
Yeah.
it was a very scary night for everyone. Like it was not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, awesome. Let's see. Ocean also asks, who does Jeffrey think the character not focused on for the new show will be? Oh, that's well, I think you're saying it should be Billy. But if
Yep.
they, because they say they want to go back and look at the Carpenter film as the primary source. So do you have an idea of somebody from that film that
Billy.
might be the it'd still be Billy, yeah, right? Or Billy's older sibling or parent, maybe.
Um, I don't know. And I never could have imagined any of the things they've done. If you asked me before this latest reboot, what are they gonna do? I'm like, they're gonna do a horror movie about PTSD, and I never would have thought that would happen.
Yeah,
So I don't know, and I'm just excited to see what they come up with. They've sort of, even with the misfires in this franchise. I'm looking at you, Resurrection. Um, in my opinion,
yeah,
they still always do something interesting. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'd love to be a part of it, but if not, I'll be watching just like everyone else with excitement.
yeah. I mean, I'm always curious where it's going to go, and yeah, I couldn't be more excited because we know this show's in development, but we don't know anything. So it's kind of just this, you know, unknown territory that we haven't been
Exciting.
in a while,
I'm excited.
on the verge of the next reimagining, reiteration of all of this. All right, let's jump over here. Last week
Yeah,
we
what are
took
these
a
polls?
poll, um and we asked everybody their favorite kill from Halloween 5. So I
Can
guess
I?
I'll read the results, and then if you've got a favorite kill, you can comment on yours, and I guess I'll comment on mine too. So, and again, I didn't list Billy as an option because Billy, we know, survived. That wasn't the kill. But I guess technically somebody could have written him in if they picked the movie that way. But we know Billy survived. Um, so the options I put up because they only let me list five, and then I always say you can write in others is Rachel, Mike, Spitz, Samantha, and Tina. And I know there's others, a lot of police officers and some other characters. Um, so yeah, with 65% of the vote, in first place is Mike's death.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I would have said Spitz, but that's okay.
yeah. I mean, I love where it goes after Mike's death. I love the whole scene when Michael's wearing the brute mask and Tina gets in the car and Michael and all that stuff, and it's our Michael, not her Michael. And I mean, because that's some of Michael Myers at his just being a trickster, just being a little
Yeah.
kid playing Halloween pranks on people, which I love when he does that in these movies. And he's just really just being a trickster right there. It's one of the creepiest scenes. So I love that.
And
But yeah, my
that actor Jonathan Chapin is in 16 Candles. So there's a big like um Kevin Bacon leap right there.
oh that's another huge connection right there. So Mike, and then at a distant second is Rachel in second place, excuse me, followed by Tina in third, then Samantha, and then Spitz in
My
fifth.
boy came in last.
I
Wow.
know. I know. Well, that Spitz and Samantha double hit. I was gonna say I like all of these. I think Rachel's is too early and maybe just too much. Mike again, it's a good kill because it's Mike going all, but I like what happens after better. Tina's is good because she's kind of sacrificing herself and dying for the kids, and Um, but yeah, my mind always goes to the Spitz and Samantha scene. If not one, then the other. I'd probably go with Sammy personally as my pick. I of course Tamara Glenn, a friend of ours, we love her and she's great in it. But it's just they're having their moment, and then Spitz gets his. She's covered in her boyfriend's blood, and then she has this moment of actually trying to fight back for a second with the pitchfork, and then of course that scythe. So for all those reasons, Sammy would be my pick. Audience disagrees; they go with Mike. Jeffrey, what would be your pick?
I'm going Spitz. It's not every day you get a pitchfork through your back while you're having sex. Come on.
It's pretty damn memorable and pretty damn unique. I gotta agree. Yeah, that'd probably be second for me. The Spitz and Samantha, they kind of go together, but I do love Sammy grabbing that pitchfork too. I like that, and just the blood, the way it just bleeds into her devil costume. I mean, that's just that's some awesome directing right there. All right. And I will, we have launched already this week's poll, which is going to ask, which characters do you want to see featured in the new series, or might be featured? So, yeah, everybody needs to hit up the new poll. It launched a few minutes ago in the community tab. And of course, we'll go over the results during next week's live on that one.
Sorry, you're going to say who's next week. I was going to ask, but I don't know.
Oh, next week's guest?
Yeah. I was going to ask, but I realized I don't know if you announce it.
Oh, well, I did announce it earlier, but we can say it again for anybody that wasn't here. But yes, next week we are going to welcome Mr. Douglas Tate as our special guest live right here on Michael Myers Monday. And he's going to be talking to us and taking audience questions, and talking about working with Mr. James U. Courtney on Halloween Kills, and he's directed a movie that was released last year too. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that. And, should be a good time as Michael Myers March, as we're calling it, continues.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm going to jump over here in the live chat and see if we have any more questions that came in. Sammy Presley says, Jeffrey, not really a question, but one memorable scene I remember is when Jamie Lloyd kissed you on the cheek and you smiled and blushed. That's such a sweet scene.
I think so too. I like it. I like that it's in there. I'm happy that made the cut and that it was included.
Oh yeah, it's just such a sweet little nice scene, and yeah, you're great in it, and yeah, it's just awesome. Ocean says, can't believe I just found this channel. Well, I'm glad you found it. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, welcome. Excellent. All right. If I did miss any questions from earlier, then apologies, but I think we've gotten everybody. We got to our super chats. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Needless to say, I mean, this has been a while coming. I've been wanting to talk to you again, and like I said, I didn't even realize that we were almost to the date. It was late April when we talked 10 years ago, and because you said in the beginning of that interview that it was around April in '89, I guess it would have been when you were doing the auditions. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of fitting then, and then I'm rereading that, and I'm like, well, here we are. It's March. It's almost April. So this time flies in Haddonfield, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'll see you in 10 years.
Well, we don't have to wait that long. Not
at all.
We won't wait that long to do this again. Well, your door's open. You're welcome here anytime, and we'll definitely do it again sooner than that. once we get confirmation that you're going to be in that TV series, then we're going to have you back on here again and talk
I'll
about
break the
that.
news here.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. See, stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. Subscribe. Hit those notifications. But seriously, either way, however they end up going with this, I'd love to have you back and to keep having alums from the franchise on and just talk about, because that's what we do here on Mondays. And I always say that, we here on Michael Myers Monday, especially, I try to just take off my journalist hat a little bit and just be a fan and just be a geek and just enjoy and celebrate this franchise that we all love, and fandoms online are always about what they don't like, it seems like these days, and I'm always
Yeah.
like, well, we can acknowledge that and then we move on because there's so much more that I do like and that, our audience, our regular audience, I think feels the same way. And to hear that you have such appreciation for all of this, that, makes me feel good. And I know it makes our friends feel good hearing that as well.
Well, it's my pleasure. Anytime, you always know where to find me.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like I said, it's been my pleasure. They're lighting up the live chat. The crowd's going wild. This has been
Oh,
awesome.
good.
This has been
Well, I hope
awesome,
everyone has a lovely, lovely evening.
and it won't be
And
the last time. Like I said, we'll definitely have you back. Talk about some of those new projects you can't speak about yet, and yeah, we're gonna get that petition going. Bring Billy back, right?
I'll sign it myself.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I always hate to say goodbye, but since every day is Halloween, regardless of what the calendar says, I like to just say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm going to log off. Have a
Okay.
great day. And
Thank you.
thanks for having me. Bye.
Yes. They're sending you all the loves, all the hearts, Jeffrey.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too. Good night. All right. How awesome was that one, everybody? I mean, Jeffrey is so cool. I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for participating in the live chat. I know it is a little bit after midnight, but this has been awesome. Like I said, we did launch a new poll. Actually, it launched during our first hour. And so you can hit that up, and it is going to be asking you what the side characters, quote unquote, um, might you want to see in this TV series. So make sure you hit that, fire away. Look for updates on the TV series coming soon. I mean, these quotes from Mark Helwig saying that it is on the fast track, it is a priority for Miramax. That definitely lines up with what I've suggested here on previous weeks that we're going to be getting some announcements as far as the creative team very soon. I mean, he pretty much says so in those quotes that you heard at the top of tonight's broadcast. So again, look for more. I expect lots more as this ramps up, as they lock in the writing team, the production team, the showrunner. And I think all of that is going to have to be in place before we hear what network it's going to be on or what streamer, because I imagine that's going to be part of what they sell to whatever the streamer may be, is this whole package, this creative team already in place. So I think that's what they're doing right now. And I think those announcements are going to be coming very soon. And I do think it's very realistic to say, judging from Hellwig's comments about it being on the fast track and a priority for Miramax, that production could begin. Like principal photography could begin as early as late summer, early fall. I think that'd be great if they're shooting actually during the fall season, during the Halloween season. Not that that's a prerequisite, but it'd be nice. And maybe we get that Instagram post sometime in September saying, day one shooting, here we go. And most likely premiering the following fall, 2025, right? That's what I think is most realistic at this point. So It's going to give us lots to talk about over the next year and a half or so. So make sure you hit that poll and participate in that. Huge thank you to Jeffrey Landman for joining me this evening. This was awesome. This has been great. We're going to keep it going. Like I said, next week we got Douglas Tate coming on. He, again, has looked at the franchise from inside a little bit, having worked on HK and having been very close to playing Michael Myers in the once in development Halloween Returns, as many of you might know. Check out my previous interview with Doug if you haven't already, and you can hear all about that. But mark your calendars. Be here. Same hello time, same hello channel for Michael Myers Monday Live next week with special guest Douglas Tate. Now, before I get out of here, I am going to do our shout-outs, our social media shout-outs. And you know how we do here. Let me pull them up. Starting with the it's not Twitter, it's the site formerly known as Twitter, X. Braun says, "Happy Michael Myers Monday. Where did the weekend go?" and shares this GIF from 2018 of Michael looking down. Of course, we're going to see him. We know he's going to see Laurie doing the disappearing trick, homage to 78, and I kind of like that, because the weekend does seem to disappear in a similar way, doesn't it? One more from X tonight. This is from Art of Kills. That's Kills with a Z. Says, "It's Michael Myers Monday. What are your thoughts on the Halloween TV series coming soon, produced by Miramax?" And of course, we want to hear your thoughts as well. We're going to be talking a lot about this over the next year and a half, like I say, and beyond. And if you want to get our attention, not a guaranteed way, but a good way, is to put the words Michael Myers Monday, make a meme, in other words, or a GIF. And you might just get it featured here on Michael Myers Monday Live Shoutouts. All right, jumping over to Instagram now. This one comes from michaelmyers.cosplay.nz, and that is NZ for New Zealand. That's right, Michael Myers cosplayer over in New Zealand says, "Mondays are for Michael. Happy Michael Myers Monday." And I could not agree more. One more for this week from Instagram. This is from Trick or Treat Mart. Says, "She came home." That's right, look close. You'll see that this is a gender swapped Michael Myers cosplay, and we are here for it, doing their spin on the hedge. Jumping over now to good old TikTok. This is from Pretty Killer Podcast on TikTok, saying that this scene here was the exact moment when they realized Michael's back and said, "F them kids," when Michael takes out the young man. What was his name in the film? It's definitely pretty brutal. Yeah, I agree. That is when we knew he was back, isn't it? One more from TikTok. This is our friend at I Wish I Had You All Alone 23. Always sharing awesome Michael Myers Monday content every week. Jumping over to Threads, because Michael Myers Monday is everywhere. This is from Josh McWhirter. Says, "It's totally normal for my kid to play in dilapidated asylums, right?" Hashtag Michael Myers Monday. If it's in a Michael Myers mask, we say so, yeah. And one more for this week. This one also from Threads, from our own Keep It Creepy 17, one of our regular viewers. Again, you want to really get my attention, put the words Michael Myers Monday on a meme or a GIF. And better yet, feature Bucky in it. that's gonna get my attention. So thank you. Keep it creepy. 17. All right, guys. This has been awesome this week. I want to thank you all for hanging out and joining me for this Michael Myers Monday live broadcast. Huge thanks again to Jeffrey Landman. It was a pleasure and an honor, and I look forward to doing it again. Thanks to all you guys for tuning in, whether you're watching live right now. I appreciate you. And for all of you watching not live on replay, I appreciate you as well, because these interviews that we do here during the live streams, they will also be listed and available on the Halloween Daily Interviews playlist as well. So thank you for watching if you're watching on a replay. And drop us your thoughts on everything we discussed with Jeffrey in the comments below. Those deleted scenes from H5. How much of that were you aware of before this interview? I'd love to hear from you down below. As well as the TV series, the recent comments from Miramax head Mark Helwig. Again, you can read those full comments anytime at HalloweenDailyNews.com, or just watch our previous report if you missed the top of tonight's show. And again, members, look for a notification coming tomorrow for our first ever members only hangout. That'll be happening later this week. And to all of you, mark your calendars, plan on joining me right here next week. Michael Myers Monday, live on Monday, March 18th, 10:31 p.m. Eastern. It's the same Hallow time right here on the HDN channel, the same Hallow channel. And we're going to welcome yet another special guest, keeping the Michael Myers March Madness rolling, the great Douglas Tate. And, Doug, like I said, he is an accomplished actor and stunt performer. He's played Jason and Michael already, in addition to many other cool roles. Now he's a feature film director himself, but he's also a fan. He's a huge fan of this franchise. And that's part of why, I wanted to do some of these conversations that we've been doing this month, and really just hopefully kind of kicking off these Triple M live interviews. I wanted to talk to some of these people that I've talked to before and have kind of known in a friendly way over the years. And because I feel like with Eric, and tonight with Jeffrey, and next week with Douglas, that they all bring a certain point of view that not everybody has, with Eric and Jeffrey, of course, being a part of this franchise for most of their lives, their entire adult lives, certainly, and watching it go through so many reimaginings, reiterations, reinventions. I think that's fascinating. For Doug, to be somebody who's watched it like us, as a fan largely from the outside, but been in the industry close enough to be a part of it, and in some cases close enough to the role of Michael Myers, so close he could taste it, as with Halloween Returns. Again, that's a great story. We probably won't go over all of it again next week, and because I am going to make a conscious effort not to ask all the great questions before we get to you guys, so you guys can have a couple more. But start thinking now of your questions, because again, I have interviewed Doug a couple times already. We've covered a lot. So read our first interview, watch our more recent one, and then come back next Monday and give us your best questions in the live chat portion of the Q&A. This has been awesome, guys. I can't thank you enough. This is fun. I hope you're enjoying having these live guests on here. It won't be every week like this. There's still going to be plenty of times where it's just going to be me here. Yeah, this has been great. I can't thank our guests enough for their time. And same for all of you watching, for your time hanging out. This has been awesome. You guys all rock. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Think about buying some merch if you haven't already. We do have new merch And make sure you're here next week. And you can also look for the Chia Myers Part 4 update dropping tomorrow morning. I could run it right now, but you guys are tired. Half of you are already going to bed, and I'm tired too. It's after midnight, so we're gonna premiere that tomorrow on the channel. Check it out. The Chia Myers experiment continues. Look for lots more cool stuff coming your way this week on the HDN YouTube channel. I can't talk about all of it quite yet, but some really cool things in the works that I can't announce yet tonight. You're going to want to be here for all of it. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. Good night.